Hi, I'm Chancellor Holden Thorp, and it's a thrill for me to welcome journalist, talk show host, and North Carolina Journalism Hall of Fame member Charlie Rose. Charlie, welcome to Chapel Hill.
It's great to be back, as it always is.
So you're the host of what some of us would say is the most important talk show in America. And you started out on television, and now you're on the internet and Twitter. Where do you think the talk show is going as a format for American journalism?
Oh, I think it'll always be a place for it, what we do and what you do, because conversation is the best way to communicate information, in my judgment. I used to be asked to do a lot of speeches around the country and around the world. More and more people want you to engage someone in conversation. It's a way to access information. Take something, I did a 12-part brain series with a Nobel laureate as my co-host, Eric Kandel, who won the Nobel 2000. Wrote a wonderful book called Search for Memory. But we brought together the smartest people in brain science, and had a conversation at the table. So that's a talk show that I think has a great place. And how you distribute it and how you see it matters less to me than the quality of the conversation. You can do it on the internet, you can do it on television, you can do it on radio. It's a multimedia way. I look forward, and that time is here, where you can see my show on a device that you have in your pocket.
Yes, so I think that part is great, and it's just going to make it even more prevalent.
Obviously, the social media is having a huge impact on politics around the world. Witness the Arab Spring, but it's also and the powerful role it will play in the American election in 2012. The president, in fact, a North Carolinian, heads his internet activities up.
You spend almost the whole week talking to people about widely different subjects: politics, athletics, entertainment.
Biology, but not much about chemistry. Maybe I'm missing something.
No, but I've watched all your shows with Ed Wilson and Jim Watson.
That's one of my favorite conversations, because here are two people who actually were not that good of friends. They'd had some conflicts in the past at Harvard. And I moderated a session with them at Conservation International. First time
I was there that night.
You remember that? It was like incredible, because they had not been speaking to each other. And so as a result of that, they said, let's have dinner, the two of them. And then we had that program about Darwin. So these two eminent scientists, one three-time Pulitzer Prize winner, E.O. Wilson, a faculty of Harvard, and the other, who defined the structure of DNA, James Watson, and they got into this wonderful conversation. And what I do and love doing is I just you saw me pulling back and let them talk to each other, which is the best way, because it's interactive, it's dynamic, it has its own organic quality.
A lot of students are watching this, and I think what's amazing about what you've been doing for all these years is the amount of work that it must be to prepare for all these interviews on these different subjects. Do you have any advice for our students on sort of how much work it is to do?
It'll be easy for them because they're smarter than I am, and therefore they won't have to work as hard. You have to have about life, you certainly have to have about your work passion. I get up every morning and I access information. I read 7 newspapers, they drop on my door at 5:30. I go and look at blogs and look at the internet. I read, I then talk on the phone or send email messages to people, especially, in a different time zone if it's that early in the morning. And I look at all that information and look at all that opinion, and I say, where is my curiosity taking me? I'm in a great place because I can follow up on my curiosity. I can get on the phone and say to whoever has been saying something and doing something that day, come to my table. Erskine actually coined the table. Erskine, back when he was chief of staff, used to say to people, you need to go sit at the table. You need to go sit at the table, of which he then did when he left as chief of staff, and then after the Bowles-Simpson report came out. So I get up every morning thinking, who do I want to sit at the table? And then we try to find out if they're in the same, city, same country, same,
Right. If you run a university, it's somewhat similar.
It is indeed, yeah. I would think that's I just actually did an interview with Larry Summers about the economy, but we talked about it because when he left government the first time and was getting ready to go to Harvard, we had a great conversation about, what you can do and how do you take the fact that a university is such a remarkable place. It's not just about learning, but it's also about research, as you know. It's about young people and the enthusiasm that they bring to. It's about books, and it's a time in your life in which there's no other time like it. You are there simply to be curious and to learn and to develop ideas and develop habits that will serve you in the great pursuit of information and knowledge.
And it's the thing that America is unambiguously still doing the best in the world.
And higher education, yes, But at the same time, why we can't take this excellence in higher education and translate it to K through 12 is another issue.
That a very interesting one, for sure. Yeah. You probably know this, but Israel has a very innovative economy. I was just there on a visit, and they're similar to America. They have great innovation, great startups, great entrepreneurial stuff, and their K through 12 system is kind of similar to ours in that they haven't been able to translate that to K through 12. So I don't know how we're going to figure that out.
I don't. Well, there are ideas out there, and there are people. It's a subject that a lot of people with resources are interested in. I mean, people like Bill Gates and Michael Bloomberg and others who are really interested in doing something. And there is a body of, I think, experience that suggests certain reforms that are necessary.
And of course, we have lots of people at a university like ours working on those subjects.
Indeed.
Yeah. So last question. Most of the
Want to trade jobs? I
would love to trade jobs some days, but I'm really happy with mine, and I really appreciate you sitting down with me. North Carolina. When people think about North Carolina and public figures, you're one of the most recognizable and one of our greatest promoters. What about growing up in North Carolina made a big difference in where you ended up in your life?
You know what it was, I think, more than anything else? My parents, I'm an only child, so I had to sort of, I was a self-starter. But my parents, they allowed me to do whatever I wanted. They allowed me to dream anything, every dream. I mean, the things that I've been able to do are beyond anything I ever dreamed because of the references I had at that time. I had no imagination that would lead me to believe that I would have the opportunities now. And I promote the place so much because it's in me. It is in me. And I also promote it because it has so many resources that if we can maximize them all, our glory is even greater to be realized.
I couldn't agree more, and I can't think of a better way to end this. Thanks for coming by, Charlie. It's great to see you.
It's always good to sit down with the Chancellor.